Welcome to this deep dive into forgotten wars of American history, conflicts you never learned about. While the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, and World War II dominate American history books, many other significant conflicts have shaped the nation in ways that are rarely discussed. Today, we're uncovering the lost chapters of America's past, wars that shaped borders, policies, and the lives of countless people, but remain largely forgotten. Stay tuned as we explore these untold stories. The Pequot War, 1636 to 1638. Long before the United States existed, colonial conflicts defined the early settlements. One such war was the Pequot War, fought between the Pequot tribe and English settlers in present-day Connecticut. This brutal conflict resulted from escalating tensions over land, trade, and power. The English allied with rival Native American tribes, and in 1637 they launched a devastating attack on the Pequot village at Mystic. The massacre led to the near destruction of the Pequot people, and the war set a precedent for future conflicts between European settlers and indigenous tribes. The Pequot War also introduced total war tactics, where non-combatants, including women and children, were targeted. This approach would reappear in later conflicts, influencing military strategy for centuries. Despite being one of the earliest recorded wars in North America, its long-term effects on Native American relations with European settlers remain profound. King William's War, 1688 to 1697. As European empires clashed over dominance in North America, the American colonies were caught in the crossfire. King William's War was the first of the French and Indian Wars, fought between England and France for control of the continent. This war saw brutal frontier raids, with both sides using Native American allies. The war ultimately ended with little territorial change, but it sowed the seeds for future Anglo-French conflicts that would reshape North America. Native American tribes played a critical role, with the Iroquois Confederacy aligning with the British and the Abenaki and Algonquin siding with the French. This war demonstrated the strategic importance of indigenous alliances and how European powers leveraged these relationships to further their colonial ambitions. The Quasi-War, 1798 to 1800. Have you ever heard of the Quasi-War? This was an undeclared naval conflict between the United States and France, fueled by diplomatic tensions after the XYZ affair, where French agents demanded bribes from American diplomats. The US built up its navy, and American warships clashed with French privateers in the Caribbean. Though short-lived, the conflict strengthened the young US Navy and proved America could defend its trade routes. This war marked a pivotal moment in American history, leading to the establishment of the Department of the Navy in 1798. It also reinforced the principle that the US would not be easily bullied by foreign powers, setting a precedent for future foreign policy. The Filibuster Wars, 1840s, 1850s. In the mid-19th century, rogue American adventurers known as filibusters waged unauthorized wars in Latin America. One of the most infamous was William Walker, who invaded Nicaragua in 1855 and declared himself president. His rule was short-lived, as Central American nations united to drive him out. The Filibuster Wars exposed America's growing expansionist ambitions and remain a little-known chapter in US history. These conflicts blurred the lines between official government policy and private military expeditions. They also played a role in shaping US-Latin American relations, with many Central American nations viewing American involvement with deep suspicion for generations. The Black Hawk War, 1832. The Black Hawk War was a brief but violent conflict between the US and the Sauk leader Black Hawk in Illinois and Wisconsin. Black Hawk attempted to reclaim tribal lands taken by American settlers, but the US militia crushed his forces. The war marked the end of Native American resistance in the region and propelled a young Abraham Lincoln into the national spotlight, though he never saw combat. The war resulted in the forced removal of many Native American tribes from the Midwest, further expanding US settlements westward. It's a stark reminder of how indigenous displacement was often justified under the guise of progress. The Banana Wars, 1898 to 1934. The Banana Wars were a series of military interventions by the US in Central America and the Caribbean, aimed at protecting American business interests. These conflicts, including occupations in Haiti, Nicaragua, and the Dominican Republic, reflected America's growing influence in the Western Hemisphere. The US justified these interventions under the Monroe Doctrine, but they often led to resentment and long-term instability in the region. Many of these interventions were tied to corporate interests, particularly United Fruit Company, which played a role in shaping US foreign policy in Latin America. These wars demonstrate the growing influence of capitalism in geopolitical conflicts. From the earliest colonial wars to modern interventions, these forgotten conflicts have shaped the United States in ways many don't realize. While they may not receive as much attention as the Revolutionary War or World War II, their impact is undeniable. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit the like button, subscribe, and let us know in the comments which forgotten wars surprised you the most. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more historical explorations.